Bonjour, bonjour, comment vas-tu? J'espère que tu vas bien. Bienvenue sur mon chaîne. Je suis Leranadu. I am the Hoodoo Queen. Welcome to my channel. And today's topic will be my journey to having a child, having a magical child, as well as understanding how to cater to a child with spiritual abilities. I want to first and foremost begin to communicate hello to everybody that is present today. Jessica, Gidget Butterfly, Dr. Stephanie, Mary, Lilac, Dee, B. Josie, Rooted in Earth, Jennifer, Petter, Enlightened, Being, Brandy, Jay, Justin, Saphir, Ollie, Emily, Isaac, Lucy, Clay, Erica, Gregory, Snapple Apple, Interior 091082, Ishi, Violet, Shabby Rocks. Hello, everyone that is here now. I want to first ask everybody to please, first and foremost, give this video a thumbs up, leave a sweet kind comment below. And I also want to remind you all, after this video, please make certain that you go and comment in the video and let me know about your feelings, your thoughts about this particular topic. So here we are, February, wow, as I'm looking at July 14th, 2024. I was thinking like 2/14/2024. Hello, Adriana Montgomery, Patrice, Jennifer Jolie. I wanted to make that date known just because this is a very special day for me. It's a huge day to be here to even communicate this particular topic. Things that I probably never thought that I would. I'm very personal with very particulars of my life. But I also understand that there comes a time where you have done all that you could. And I know the importance of community. I've seen the power of community. I know what community can do and has done for many. I also understand that I myself have done a lot for communities as well as this community. And this is my day to speak to you about some personal matters as well as needing your assistance and your help. But of course, as always, I'm not just going to, just come here. I've never looked back. I've never required, asked, or created any kind of shenanigans surrounding the assistance of the community. So if I'm doing this, you know that is huge. So today I want to just sort of run through exactly what we're going to be discussing today. The very first thing is my journey and the challenges as a child with spiritual gifts and abilities. And as well as the outside challenges of that. Zakia Mac here. Greetings. I want to follow up with you, follow up with a testimonial. This week I started a new job due to Queen's work, and not only is it an advanced position, but a 50% increase in pay. Yes, indeed, Zakia. Exactly. I'm so happy to hear that for you. And I tell you, Zakia, what makes me so happy with you is the fact that your faith and your trust in the work, in me, and not just that, but literally in the space of magic. You trusted it. You didn't waver from it or any of those things. And through that, the turnaround. When you needed questions specifically about, what does this mean or what could this mean? You really, really stayed true to, this is what the cards are saying. This is what they mean. Um, how am I supposed to, sort of take this kind of deal? And that's just incredible to see, because it's exactly that, I was talking to someone earlier today. You think about, you got the job, you got a 50% pay increase. And if I'm not mistaken, like in the 20s, like you're making 20s, nearly 30, an hour now, and those kind of things. And the ceiling isn't there. There's opportunity for more. And you would think the blessing is the job, but the blessing is the process, the journey that you trusted. That thing will teach your children one day and their children one day that yes, you're going to get this. It's going to happen, but this is how you make it happen. And this is how you got to move and live. And so I'm just so proud of you. It's these things on a regular basis with my followers, with my viewers, that truly let me know, is giving me confirmation that I'm doing something right, that I'm fulfilling my purpose, because the truth is the results are there. The results are there. It doesn't matter if you like what I say, if you dislike what I say, the results are there. So congratulations, Z-Mag. Félicitations. Bien joué. So we're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about your journey as a spiritual child. We are then going to follow up with having a spiritual child, how to support a spiritual child, how to encourage a spiritual magical child, how to determine gifts, in addition to protecting a spiritual child. We'll break down some of the ideas behind that. A spiritual child versus a gifted child, depending on what those gifts are. Conjuring, spell casting, psychic, and the list goes on. But we're going to get into those things. And then we're going to get into my journey. And we're also going to, I'm just going to repeat, we'll be getting into my journey. Again, I get chill bumps just even mentioning this, but my journey in the space of starting a family, my journey in the space of continuing the Mona Mendoza La Live line, my journey in providing the next successor through my line, and understanding why now, and why I don't have any other options other than now, and how it does also affect you. Again, understanding the importance of the community, our honesty about all of this, and how it affects myself as well as you in the community. I will be talking about breaking it up into two particular spaces: the spiritual importance of this and the spiritual challenges that I've already have began to live. Also, again, the reason why now. And so there's that. So if y'all don't mind, let's get into it. There will be time for you all to ask questions if you'd like. Let me make sure my audio box is on so that, yeah, yes, it is. Wait, are we getting the Hoodoo Child? That is correct, Christoph. We are getting the child of the Hoodoo Queen. So let's talk about it. So first and foremost, I want to just communicate the one of my major. So this particular discussion is going to be part personal, part spiritual, to understand that it's life. It is the spirit. It is the mundane. I honestly can communicate to you all. There has been one particular dream that I've always had since I was a child, and I'm going to try not to get emotional about it. But since I was a child, and I've always wanted to be a parent to some capacity, the only true dream and wish that I've had was that my grandma, Queen Susie Menomedose Lalif, would be able to bless my children. Unfortunately, in 2019, she transitioned, and that's the year that I also had to ascend to the seat as queen. It was not my time. I actually was supposed to. I think I had like another 10 years before I was queen. To be honest, actually about now, to be honest, and she transitioned in 2019, and at that moment, my biggest wish, my biggest dream, my greatest fantasy became a nightmare. I mean, what can you do? Yes, I can teach my child how to connect, and I can all of those things, but that's not the same. Um, and that's one of the hardest things I've ever dealt with in my life, to be honest. I was expressing to some people just a week or so ago, like, when it comes to the dead is easy. The dead is smooth. I've always known the dead. But something very particular about my lineage is that we normally, you'll find that we normally transition within like a 20 to 40 year intervals. So it's almost like generations at a time kind of deal. So in my lifetime, of course, people have died, but no one blood related and near me like that ever. And so we haven't even reached that time, that interval in my grandmother transitions, okay? And so this was the first time that I experienced death versus the dead. I've always been good with the dead. I've known the dead since the age of 3. And we're going to talk about that as well. And so communing with the dead, working with the dead, understanding the dead, but I had never, until my adult life, experienced death. And that was different. That was a very human experience that literally sent me into the hospital. In the midst of, and this is when I actually was opening the first Conjure South down the street here on Airport Boulevard. And I literally wasn't present for probably like 2.5, maybe 3 months, to be honest. Like, and I did not even know it, had no idea. And so at that moment, it taught me the importance of how we just really didn't have the time we thought we had. This came not too long after that is when I had the vision of the pandemic, and then a massive wave of death and sickness and death and sickness. And that also woke something else up in me, because now, and honestly, in my family, we had no COVID related deaths or deaths surrounding the pandemic at all. But just to see it happening, did something to me because this is very unnatural. So, so I really, really, really at that moment was like, okay, life is short. Life is short in general. Let me move on. But as you well know, if you are here and you've been here a while, I am a person that is two-spirited, meaning I have been conceived and designed with the spiritual, mental, and emotional attributes of um, male and female. This goes beyond masculinity and femininity. This is not gender, okay? But I live between both worlds. Due to this, clearly, I cannot naturally have children. Um, and so, of course, people say, well, you have options, right? You can do this or do that, or do you have a friend, or whatever the situation may be, or even adopt. And so this is where things go heavy into the spiritual space. And so please make sure you all listen very well. Upon me um, ascending as queen, it was prophesized, even at this particular point. Well, it was prophesized as a child, but it was reiterated. It was prophesized at 8. It showed what these things would be happening during this time of my life. But um, I have a spiritual pact. I have a spiritual assignment, a spiritual charge that was prophesized and communicated that if I did not provide an heir by a particular age, that there would be 8 consecutive deaths and then the repeat of 8 consecutive deaths until this child was conceived. That birth date passed, and I knew on that date, actually, I knew um, because the cycles began on the 8th month, etc. Which is why sometimes you'll see my birthday in August, sometimes you'll see it in December, but the 8s are significant to me particularly. On the 8th month, death. My great uncle wanted, we had 4 elders living, my grandma, my great uncle, my great aunt, and then my other great uncle. My grandmother was gone, but she wasn't a part of that. But my great uncle, he was. That was immediate. After that, we had my aunt. We've had other elders, not blood related, but the blood related are the ones that are more prevalent. Even my ancestral court. So I have another half, and I've been with this individual now going on 11 years, and their father transitioned. And this is one of those things I was talking about back in December and November, all the things that we were going through. So now I've experienced elders that brought me up for over 2 decades, a parent, essentially, that I've known now for over a decade. And then there has been others as well. So people then don't quite understand the importance of the baby being by blood. It has to be by blood because it's the only way that our inherited gifts will go to you. It doesn't matter what I teach. It doesn't matter what I say. I can go adopt a child. I can adopt a cat, a squirrel, a pig, a frog, whatever. I can teach you whatever. It does not give you my blood. And so the child has to be of my blood. It's not just to have a child and teach. It's not teach the secrets. It's to pass the blood. And so I've come to this position, right? Um, People are going to say, why wait? Why have you waited until now? Well, again, one part is I just cannot naturally do it. Another thing on the spiritual front of things is, even on the spiritual front, there are legalities that has to be operated. We got to know who you are. Are you trusted with the family? Have you had children before? Do you have any psychosis? There's a psych evaluation that needs to happen. There are also legal documents that must be drawn. And so it's a whole thing. It's a whole thing to even approach it on the spiritual front in that way, from the court side of things. So on the court side of things, you still have to do those particular situations. Another big thing is, one of my biggest challenges, to be honest, is work. I have given decades of serving the community, not just this community. That's what I mentioned earlier. Um, I literally, for almost 20 years, almost 20 years, um, and I gave that to children, to teaching them, to growing them. Some children in cheerleading and gymnastics and dance. As some of you may or may not know, I owned gymnasiums and things for years, started at the age of 15. So I spent at least a decade of giving and raising people's children through gymnastics and dance and those things. And I did not cater to myself. I did not um and I and so I literally gave to that. When it comes to this particular space, I'm giving, I'm teaching. In the month of June, in the month of May and June, I cannot express to you the length of hours through the master class and all of these things that that I did and that I have done, that literally gives to the community, but doesn't pour into myself. Even like I was telling you guys, like with the May Rain stuff, and people say, oh my goodness, I'm certain you make a killing. Y'all don't understand the amount of shipping that goes out and what it costs and those kinds of things on a regular basis. Also, too, I don't upcharge. I'm not greedy. My prices are incredibly low compared to charlatans and those kinds of things. And so, if you look at my spiritual business, I'm probably making the same amount that you're making. And so it becomes a difficulty in that way. But I also have understood and recognized that when I go home, when I go to my house, let me say that, when I go to my house, I become quite sad. I become incredibly disappointed. I become incredibly um, mm, disheartened, because here it is, a house that I purchased, but it's not a home because I'm not there. I can't clean like I need to. I can't mop like I need to. I can't sit in front of my in front of my ancestral space as I would like to. Um, I'm always on the move. I'm always, in social media, you gotta just keep pumping out, being consistent. And I have, and I've seen the benefits of it, and I'm grateful. But when I go to my house and I see that it's not a home, that's a problem. On the spiritual front, it's a problem, because how can I bring a spiritual child in, or even a physical child, when the house has not been groomed into a home or a space for that being to be present? Um, and so that has been a big thing for me. Being a service and working, those two big things just really have kept me from just like, how do I make this happen now? And but I understand my purpose here in the community. I understand I was given this by my elders, and I made a pact and a deal, and I will fulfill that completely. I also see what it's doing for the community. You all are killing it left and right, being blessed, jobs, houses, babies, diseases removed. I mean, a life completely differently created. And I'm seeing that y'all are doing it through the resources, through the classes. And one of my purposes, and I want to mention that to you all as well, when it comes to purposes in life, is not just this one thing. I have multiple purposes. And one of those things is to connect you all to you, to your blood, to your charge ancestrally, magically, and spiritually and supernaturally. That is one of my things. And I do it through teaching. I am gifted enough to teach. I'm gifted enough to have had the upbringing and to be who I am, to give you the authentic, true, traditional abilities to do the things that you need to do. And you're doing it. You're doing it, and you're doing it well. And so, like, that to me just keeps me going. It's the testimonies like ZMAC. It's the testimonies like others that have been in here on a regular basis. And it's just incredibly profound. And thank you, Lady Anne. I will get to that here in a little bit. I want to be completely transparent. I got all of my notes, and I was actually late for lunch today because I want to make sure I cover everything for everybody. And again, give you guys, yes, Emily, you're correct. I mean, you with the Super Bowl, that was insane, Emily. I was like, with that contract, I'm like, yes. And so that's very, very huge. Um, mm. So in in the in the other point about purposes, um, in the point of purposes, um, understand this: without spiritual obedience, especially when it comes to your purpose, you only have two choices: either you answer, or you are removed from this earth. Every elder in my life, religiously or magically, that has gone against their purpose have all been removed. Me having this child is a part of my purpose. Conceiving these children is a part of my purpose. If I don't, I honestly do not know at what point they say, you know what, we've given you enough time, so we'll just put somebody else to do what you clearly will not do. Um, and that hasn't been necessarily the case. Sending you so much love, Queen. Thank you many times over for teaching the truth and providing us anything that I can do. I'm here to serve. Merci beaucoup. Thank you so very much, Cameron. Thank you, Patrice. And we're going to get into your children and your magic and even your upbringing. You definitely do that, Queen. After the work you've done for me, the atmosphere in my house has changed drastically. I think thank you enough. You're so welcome. Welcome to Mother Queen. It's ghetto, but I wouldn't trade it for the world. This baby is so lucky to have you. Yes, and that's happened to me 2 months after being introduced to your community. Yes, absolutely, my Emily. So the next point that I want to cover is the challenges. As I mentioned, I just covered it. And the reason why I'm very clear about this thing about purpose is because there have been things that have immediately, once I hit that age and that child was not here, immediately I started having medical issues. Immediately. I spent so much on medical bills. They found nothing. Although all the symptoms are there, all the things are there, but nothing. And I am constantly going through those things. Another part of my prophecy is for every person that transitions, I have to experience the death that they die. So when an elder had cancer, I had all the symptoms. When my grandmother transitioned, although this was not, that was at that time, I started taking on her ailments when she transitioned. My aunt, when she transitioned with cancer, I went through those things. And so I'm going literally to the doctor, and they're like, we see what you're saying. We understand that you're not crazy, but there is nothing, there is nothing, there is nothing, there is nothing. And then, of course, then I go to the elders that are left and I ask, and then they go, you know what this is about. What do you want us to say? You know what you have to do. And so, just to be honest, this has never happened before in my life, and which is a big reason why I said it has to. Now is the time that I have to make this known, and I will need your assistance. I will need your help. The ancestors became so upset that they required me to take down all of my lights, all of them, every last one. For a while, they recently allowed me to relight, but literally, it was the first time, and this was just a week ago, or maybe a little more than a week ago. For the first time in my entire existence, I felt alone spiritually because they had cut everything off because like you're not making the decisions, you're not moving, you're not doing the things. Um, and so thank you so much, Shabby Raz. I greatly appreciate you. Greatly. Hello, Impressive Magic. And so I do worry daily, to be honest, because it's like, what can I do? And I have things that I'm gonna do, but is it fast enough? Um Bonjour Rudy, bonjour, comment ça va? Ah, de rien, Rudy. Rudy, pardon-moi, je suis désolée. Um, at what point are these ailments mine? At what point is it somebody else's? Um, and so I lack sleep, which is why a lot of times you'll see that I'm tired, or I am stressed to a level that I have never experienced before. And so these are the things that I get as a spiritual reprimand for not making these moves. As I mentioned earlier, I've lost my grandmother, essentially a father, two elders, and then just this past week, when my lights had to go out, I saw, because I took pictures of everything as everything had been happening. Um, did I delete that stuff? I cleaned up my phone today. Yeah, I did delete it. There was a murder of crows. There were a huge branch had fallen across Michigan Avenue, which means destruction. I um, tried to bake a pan of cornbread. It fell in. Something else had happened, but there was sign after sign after sign. Immediately after that, um, my brother called me and said, Dad is incredibly sick. He has chills. He, we have him wrapped in blankets and those kind of things. He's incredibly lightheaded, and we are probably going to take him to the hospital. And so anyways, I literally was like, all right, well, he's next. And I literally just was like, let me do what I can. And I, did some things, and the next day he actually got better. But it's like, it's just a window of, it just gives me a little bit of time. And then this goes into, and I'm almost done with this whole thing. And then this goes into the point of something incredibly, this is more of a personal thing. And I just want to communicate this with everybody. And I want everyone to listen to this, because this isn't just with fertility, it's not just with children, but it's with love, it's with happiness in your life, it's with bliss in your life. Once my other half's father passed, my ancestor said, "How dare you deprive the living of your joy? How dare you deprive the living, your parents, his parents, with the joy of this child, with the joy of this line continuing? How dare you? You've and then I begin to think about it, because it's like, in one way it's like, oh my gosh, I can't. But then in the same token, it's like, Queen, if you can do it now, you could have done it then. Why have you waited? Had I not waited, my child would have had a blessing. Okay, everybody, we are back. I do apologize. Of course, y'all know the signal here does what it does. But we're here. We're good to go. So as I was just mentioning, however, and this is one of those moments in time and space where it is not just a situation of, I'm just trying to make sure that we're back and everything. Yes. So, but it's just not a space of depriving them, but it is also a larger thing of, and this is on a personal front. For example, my other half, his father was a pilot. My child will never know what it feels like to fly with his grandfather. Um, my child will never know how to make homemade biscuits with my grandmother. My children will never have the opportunity. Um, I don't know if I have it, but my aunt, always, always saying, for every birthday, she never missed a birthday, and she always did this little happy birthday song. They'll never get to hear that. And so when the ancestors said, how dare you deprive this child of those things, it hit me a very particular kind of way. And then it's also, how dare I deprive the child of the spiritual things that they could be getting from these individuals? How dare I deprive them from having this experience? But something else that hit me harder than a bag of bricks was this idea. It's one thing to lose a parent through death. But I also was having a conversation with my mother and my father the other day, and I realized, had I had a child maybe 10 years ago, they would have had a sweet experience to run and play with my dad and throw footballs and all those things. But not now. Through becoming older and through aging, he's not in a physical capacity to do that. And so that causes him to be more irritable, less tolerating. So my child won't get the opportunity to even have the sweetness. And my dad is still very compassionate and caring, but you can see that it's a fine line. And so my child will not even get to know the best of my parents. And that thing truly, truly, truly eats away at me. I talked to Mama Bear, y'all know her, and it's somewhat very similar. The conversations are harder to have. Love her through and through, but the conversations are becoming harder. And I go, my child will not get to have the conversations like I had. So the person that they meet may be a very different person than I knew growing up. So that's where we are with the spiritual / personal things. But this is where things go into the more mundane. And then we're going to get into your journey with your children and you as a child. This journey that I'll be taking will be a journey of IVF and surrogacy. This journey is not inexpensive. This journey is a very, very deep, heavy investment. But I want to express this, and I know this for a fact. I only need a little bit from everybody and I can have it what I desire at least. Right here, you are free to go to the description box if you will, but listen to me first and donate to Cotalia Starting a Family IVF and Surrogacy Journey. This journey, again, is incredibly heavy. It's a heavy investment. It's not a burden. I don't look at it as a debt. It is an investment. Understand that through this child, through the conception of this child, allows me to be here for you as long as I possibly can. I want to communicate this though. You all listen. I have roughly 124,000 followers and viewers collectively here on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, etc. And I don't need everybody. I don't need every follower, every viewer to give. But to be honest, if I had 10,000 followers to give $10, I can get what I need, or at least start in a good space. This journey actually ranges significantly over $100,000 and actually probably more than that. I'm not going to front with you at all. And y'all can't cry because then I'm going to cry and then we'll all be crying. So, and I'm on the verge already. So the thing about it is, I am always going to do everything that I can to do my part, you know. GoFundMe doesn't allow you to give like $2 or $3. They have a minimum. And with that minimum, you know, whatever that minimum, if you pay the minimum, that would be great. So I want to say thank you for that. And for those that do donate, and even for those that don't, I will be tracking my journey via social media. So you will get to see from start until finish. The link is over in the description box. From start to finish. If you donate $100 or more, you will be invited to join me once the birth of the child has happened. And you will join me and the other elders in the blessing of my child and spiritual name ceremony. You will get a private invite from me to join, to show up. I don't know, I may possibly do it virtually if people can't come. But I just think about that, you know, if 10,000 people just give $10, that gives me what my goal. If 5,000 people gave, you know, $100, that'll give me my goal or whatever. Excuse me, yeah. Or whatever, but you know, not 100, but 200 or whatever, just doubling it. I'm gonna go donate now, but can we donate like monthly as well? So here's the thing about it. My ideal goal is August 1st. Again, I know how community work. I know that things can happen quickly. I've seen it happen. I pray and I petition, I declare that all of the investment that I've given social media over the past decade of my life will allow me to get what I need. Again, my goal on GoFundMe does not fund the entire thing. It doesn't at all. Ideally, if things can move quickly, I would like to make the ceremony and the welcoming of during the fete of 2025. But you know, that's, I don't know. I don't know like where that stands and all of those things. So moving along, with that link is over in the description box. And again, I want to just briefly just say thank you all so much for being here. Thank you so much for listening to this aspect of my story and my journey. The link is over in the description box. If you're just now tuning in, please subscribe to the channel, give the video a thumbs up, leave a sweet kind comment below. I also want to let you all know that you can copy that link and you can share it yourself. So even after you donate, you can share that link, and that can also help and benefit. Um, and so I pray that this reaches the right individuals with the right intentions and the right actions to bless my home. Again, I've never asked for anything like this ever. And I'm even not even solely just thinking that I promise you. And when I tell you I'm going to document this entire journey, you will see from the start to the end so that you truly, truly understand what goes into play here. But before you all donate, there's more. There's more. Um, but the link is over in the description box. Well, the thing about it is this: August 1st is my goal. I may have to go longer than that, if I have to. But honestly, I appreciate wanting to donate more afterwards. Once the goal is reached, that's kind. You can just continue to donate as much as you can, but I'm not asking for that. I appreciate it. Just showing up here, giving the videos a thumbs up will be more than enough for me. But I want y'all to also know the mundane aspect of things because it gets rough. Okay. And understanding why, because here's the thing about it. I'm not going to lie to you. That's one. I will tell you one thing about me. My biggest weakness is my truth. That's it. My biggest weakness is my truth. I am truthful. I am honest. I cannot operate outside of that. This experience causes for an egg donor, which has a compensation fee, and a surrogate, who are two totally different compensations. Okay. I do know the test having an expiration date before you have to reset. Um, this is beautiful. This beautiful baby should come. Thank you so very much. Um, at the beginning of this live, I opened the description box and immediately knew what the link was for. So I donated before you shared this story. You deserve this journey. Thank you so much, Erica. You're so kind. I'm not going to cry. So... So the other aspect is understanding that, again, this is incredibly expensive. Let's say well over $100,000. Well over $100,000. But I just thought to myself, if I can get 10,000 of my viewers or followers to donate $10, I'm set. I'm set. That makes things so easy, a lot easier. Takes off a tremendous amount of stress. Um, even the idea of even adopting is like 40,000 plus. Like, can we start planning a baby shower? I think that's what the blessing will be. So, or I haven't even thought about a baby shower. I'm not even thinking about a baby shower. That hasn't even crossed my mind. That has never even crossed my mind, because I have to take it a step at a time. But I want to let y'all know this. I am not going to sit back and just see what happens. That's not how I am. It's never how I have been. It's not how I'm going to be. So I have decided to do a couple of things. Um, Thank you so much, Jennifer Jolly. And it really plays into that space. But I want y'all to listen to this because things do get scary here. So one thing is I'm going to move my shop. Again, I'm going to move it to my home. This way, it gives me the ability to save what I'm putting out so that I can put into that. Understanding in this particular IVF and surrogacy journey, they don't allow you to move forward unless you have the funds available now. If you don't have the funds available now, like all of the funds available now, they don't allow you to do that thing or whatever else the situation. And once the ball begins to roll, you can't go, well, I'll pay this now and I'll wait a couple of months. So say, for example, they put your surrogate on medicine to help them conceive for the next month or whatever, or they have to do this 3-month cycle situation before their eggs are ready, whatever. You can't wait around. You have to be ready. Okay. And so I'm going to move the shop back to my home, which is an investment in this child. And I want y'all to really, really understand this, because it's like when I was downtown, I moved to save. Okay. And I actually know that people like, oh, you probably need to worry about your business. You need to be focused on that or whatever else. You can't. No, what you got to understand is this. I'm going to put it to you this way. Rihanna, a billionaire, owned and managed Fenty, Savage Fenty, until she decided to invest in her family, her babies, her man, a mother, a partner. She says, you know what? I can own the company, but I don't have to manage it. And some people will look at it as, oh, you didn't succeed, or, oh, you're not doing well. No, it's a smart move to invest in time with her babies and her man. But people want to go, oh my goodness, no, oh no, she didn't know, my baby. Understand. She did what she understood, the value of her children. She understood the value of her family, to say, I don't got to have my hands in every single thing. At the end of the day, when the day go in, I need to be able to make that call. But outside of that, I don't have to be all of that. I can hire someone to do those things, etc. And so that's what I'm doing. I'm moving my shop back to my home. It'll probably still look the same, to be honest, but I'm doing that. Another thing that I'm doing, and I'm just telling you all these because I want y'all to understand, I'm not sitting back and just being lazy and just, oh, I'm going to hope and I'm going to wait or whatever. I'm also planning on going back to school in September, which plays a huge, 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 huge part in my attendance and things here. I'm not planning on changing any of these things per se, but maybe there'll be more pre-recorded videos when my days are more organized, etc. But I said, I need more capital. I need more funds. Let me use the talents that I have. I'm going to go back to school and get some certificates or whatever I can, get certified in some things so that I am able to bring more financial ability and freedom to my home on this particular journey and thereafter. And so that's the whole situation. And I know people probably like, exactly, Z-Mac, that's the point. Life is too short. Like I've told you before, the longer you wait, the less time you have with those things. And I even thinking about that, I've waited at least 10 years before making this decision. I've taken 10 years of life with my child or children that I cannot get back. 10 years of my parents' life, 10 years. So like there's just like so much loss that I cannot get back. And there's that. And so there's that. And then the last thing is that I'm if in fact I have to move, like back home or near home, it's an option. And so that is another situation. So something about me, Laria, Shanae, is I'm very big into not wasting my energy and wasting my time. Going to trade schools and getting certificates and certified in things will get you more money quicker. And you can build wealth a little bit faster than that. This is why you will find hairstylists tend to have more cash money and probably financial ability than some of your 9 to 5 bankers, etc. Because they're trade. They went to school for what 2 years, 2.5 years, and they immediately begin to work, and they can begin to work in their field on the dot. For me, I'm going to use my talents. I am really I love um, real estate, so I'm going to more than likely go into real estate to some capacity. I actually have a friend here in Mobile that's already provided me with an opportunity, and I hope that it pays well to 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 the cause. I'm also going to try to get signed to some different talent agencies and get back into modeling. I figured, well, if I'm already being hired and being brand ambassadors for people, I, I'm still can do a little something. So I'm working on my health, trying to do all of those things, but I'm not going to wait around and just sort of hope and wish and pray. I do take care of myself with my finances to the best of my ability. So I will see if there are any financial institutes that would be willing to provide anything. But like I said, even even if I had an institute to give me $35,000, $50,000, baby, that does not even begin what I need. It doesn't even begin what I need. So there's that. Um, and so that's a huge thing. Brooklyn, exactly. I have so many friends that are still in student loan debt and not even working in the industry. They went to school for being certified. Getting certified for a trade is way more lucrative and financially. It truly is. You think about electricians, plumbers, these kind of things. And I'm not opposed to any of those things. That is something I'm gonna tell y'all something. I've always said it. If I ever close this shop down, I have no issues working at the Burger King, the Popeyes, Humane Shelter, and whatever else I need to do to get my bills paid or get the things done that I need to get done. Um, and I went to school so long. I started when George Michael was cool for real. Oh my goodness. Yes, HVAC, all of those kind of things. So here's where the things get scary, and then we're going to get into you guys, people. So I just want to let everybody know if you are here. Um, yes, Marcel. Yes. Um, I just want to communicate that if you were here, we are here talking about having a magical child, my journey as I'm about to embark on this. And if you would be so kind to hit the description box and be so kind to help us start our IVF and surrogacy journey, it would be everything to us. This is a journey I will be documenting from start to finish, so you all will see the entire process of it. And if you donate $100 or more, please leave your email in the note on the GoFundMe page, and we will be sending you a private invite to the blessing of our child and the ceremony for the spiritual naming. But that is in the description box. Um, so I'll say so. That's the next part. That's the next part. Ice and Snow Show as which is the scariest part of my entire journey and the biggest challenge is the state that I live in. I live in Alabama. I'm in Mobile. For those that do not know, because you're indigenous with receipts, you can model with indigenous community as well. Afro-Indigenous is a big deal right now because, well, Emily, please email me. Let me know who I need to reach out to. I will present whatever information that is needed, and I will give it a shot. But it's a state that I live in. I live in Alabama, and in this state, just 5 months ago, they closed all IVF and surrogate institutes, which then stopped my research, stopped my ability to even look around and try to find an agency or anything like that. The biggest thing is that at that point in time, laws immediately were created to where even if we had embryos made, we could not transfer them to another state to even have a surrogate to begin this journey. Again, just 5 months ago, they closed down all of my options in Alabama. I can go to another state, but I really don't have that kind of luxury. I really don't. In November, we have the election, and there are already abortion bills, IVF bills, surrogacy bills that are in place to prevent people from having those rights, laws, or decisions. Laws will be taken away from the LGBTQAI plus community, which I'm clearly a part of, I think clearly a part of. And again, this is where like those laws are in place that the embryos cannot be created, because if they're created and they can't go to another state, then that's a death or whatever. They trash them and then you go to jail. I will not have a choice after November if Donald Trump is made president. So this cuts my goal time into like now. Even if I decided to, this is another big thing because I've also talked to my family that don't live in the U.S. As an American citizen, I cannot do this in another country without revoking my citizenship as an American. And even if I did, it would take years to have it finalized before I can even begin that journey. So it puts me in a position where my spiritual timeline doesn't match up either. Even if I left the country, it doesn't allow me to do so. I can't do this in another country and bring the child in because they would not be a citizen. Um, She said, squint, 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 squint. Around this network. Oh my goodness. Y'all, listen, somebody. Y'all, listen. Woo. Okay, um, so that's a huge thing that lingers over me on the that lingers over me is understanding that I live in a state that doesn't support my family, my household, and I live in and I could possibly be living in a nation that will not either. And so having the child here prior to baby already baking, I'm good. So that's where we are. At this given point in time, I do just want to say once more, if you're just now tuning in, thank you so much for joining. Give the video a thumbs up, leave a sweet, kind comment below. We are here today talking about having a magical child, my particular journey, but also you along your journey. I am kindly and humbly asking if you would be so kind to look in the description box and possibly donate to our GoFundMe to starting my IVF and surrogacy journey. I am going to be documenting the entire process from start to finish. Those that donate $100 or more, please leave your email in your notes so that I can send you a private email, a private invite to the blessing and naming and spiritual naming ceremony of the child once they are here. So there's that. At this particular time, because again, and I want to just say this too, y'all take that link, go share it with someone that you know. Just don't put it out there like that. Share it with somebody. Don't throw it on your Facebook or whatever else. Share it with somebody you know that I either have touched that may haven't seen the thing or whatever else. Share it with someone that you can communicate and say, this woman has blessed me in this way, and this is where she is. Would you be willing to give and willing to donate or something along those lines? Emily says, this goes to show you how heavy your position is. Although you didn't make your choices to blatantly ignore things, you were serving and you're human. So you get tired and worn out. Time passes, and now, yes, um, absolutely. Thank you, Marcel. I greatly appreciate it. Thank you so very much. Um, so there's that. So I appreciate all of you for listening to all of that. But now I want to get into the conversations of you as a magical child. Of course, listen, then here I go going right into teaching because it's just how I operate. I think that is quite sage of me. Um, so as a spiritual child, I know myself, one of my biggest challenges personally, because again, I grew up in a magical space. I grew up in a magical position. It's what I've known. So that has always been normal to me. However, we do live almost essentially in a Christian nation, it seems, day by day. And though I did not have it hard, there were absolutely moments where in school, when I played sports, that um thank you so much. Oh hey Sunny. Um Queen, when I see you step back to remind me not to just squeeze you because we got you and it's done, Your Majesty. Thank you so very much. I really appreciate you greatly. I will wear I will use the security of our past president to keep you from squeezing Josie. Anyways, um, thank you so much, Guided Butterfly. So, as a spiritual child, one of the things that I know that I dealt with in my family and in my community was because people knew who we were. When I played sports, I would hear people. I remember at not basketball, baseball, they would say, "Oh, well, they work some, they work that stuff. The reason, Co is playing so good." No, my dad was an All American, nearly All American football player, and my mother was essentially a silver place gymnast her entire career. So for me, I'm just an athletic person. So it shouldn't be surprising that I'm a good athlete, but you would hear people, "Oh, well, that happened because they did this, or that happened because they did that, or this negative thing happened because of this, or whatever." And so that became a very tiring situation as an adolescent because I'm 15 and 16 years pretty much younger than the majority of my cousins. So I didn't have such the large privilege of growing up with all of my cousins in school like they did because there's like 100 of us, pretty much all back to back to back to back to back to back, and so as slow as that security move, you'll be getting um, you'll be getting my hug second. Yes, indeed, Babyless, and those people is not there for him. Um, that's a whole nother conversation. I went live last night on Instagram. I may go back again. I need y'all. I need y'all to be ready. I need y'all to be ready, but we'll talk about that at a different time. So I'm thinking about being a spiritual child, and you as a spiritual child. I want to just first and foremost just stop and say I commend and congratulate you all as adults because thank you so much, King Naru. You're too kind. I meant to send you the video of someone that kept telling security someone. Oh yes, I mean it's the whole thing. We'll talk about it. I don't mind. It needs to be talked about. Um, but here's the thing, and this is even more reason why now you all on top of my things that's going on that you have to go vote. You have to go vote. Your lives, the lives of your children and their children and their children depends on it. Trust me on that. Trust me on that. So do not, do not just, well, I may have, no. Queen, that live was necessary last night. Both be close line past that. And we'll have that conversation again because apparently a lot of individuals really needed it and needed to hear some things. Um, and I just want to make it clear too, y'all, the shooter was Republican. So you got to think about this. That's what I was telling y'all last night. You got Republicans, you got Democrats, and you have Trump loyalists. That's those are the ones that you got to watch out for. And I'm going to tell you something, and I'll just mention this like I said last night. I've rubbed elbows with multimillionaires, and I've come from a society where, again, socially, I have been a part of these circles, not necessarily financially. But when I tell you a win is a win to them, they don't care what is sacrificed, what casualties are present. A win is a win. And I'm not telling you this based off of what just happened. with 45 or whatever number he is. I'm telling you this as somebody who was in the room with them, and they're telling me, I don't care that this person is 10 times more qualified or whatever, or they have 10 times the ability. We're going to put them in at this starting level so they completely crush all of their competition so that we can take control of this particular domain. Let me tell you something. A win is a win. And when you have someone that is loyal, I would just say go ask Osama bin Laden, but you can't. Understand when somebody is loyal. If I was loyal, I may crawl on top of a building. I may decide to, pretend to harm a person. Y'all, it takes more talent to graze somebody than to actually hit them. A graze, a piercing. I'm just saying, and I said this on my Facebook, don't be fooled and don't be foolish, because the problem is going to be this. It's not the Republicans, it's not the Democrats, because they're the same as we discussed last night. Thanks to my other half, he keeps me up to date with all the news and like the history of it. I really would like to go live with him one day so that y'all can hear really get behind the history of Democrats and Republicans, and those things. But this loyalist group, understand that these are your neighbors, because they're now going to be thinking so foolishly. But we'll talk about it. Um, so as spiritual children yourselves, as adults, I want to commend you. I want to congratulate you, because you have been an individual that wasn't nurtured in your magic. You weren't nurtured in traditional spirituality. You weren't nurtured in the space that allowed you to thrive in all that you have been designed to do. But you understood there was something different about you, something special about you, something great about you. And for that particular reason, you decided to say, let me open myself up to the possibilities. Let me open up myself to the the hope that I can connect. And here, and here you are, here you stand with the blessings and all the things and education and knowledge, etc., because you absolutely beautifully decided to listen to that magic. Although you didn't know that it was magic that was in you, you decided to listen to it. You decided to walk in that space. You decided to move in that way. Um, okay. But when I was ready, they sent you, Gregory said, and I appreciate that. Um, and so that's a beautiful thing. But also, I'm going to tell y'all something about that as well. A lot of people go, oh, goodness, I wish I had your upbringing, Queen. I wish I, had that as a child and all of those things. My baby, no. Mm-mm. You were raised exactly as you were supposed to be raised. You were brought up exactly as you were supposed to be brought up. Why? Because now that you have had a taste of truth and the truth of magic, of the dad, of the plants, of the omens, you understand the value of this world that I will never understand, because at one point you didn't have it. So now when it comes to your children, you know that I cannot allow you to leave this house without knowing who you are, whose you are, and what you are. That thing right there is the reason why you came into your space as you did. This is why you have experienced what you've experienced. This is why, as a child, your parents said, yeah, you're crazy. You ain't nothing about it but dreams. We don't listen to that. We don't do that. And all of those things. It is that brushing away. It is that neglecting of. It is that shutting down. It is that thing exactly what makes your journey so much richer. Because you understand what it's been like not to have it. So you know for a fact you're not going to do that to your children or your nephews or your nieces and those things. It is that thing. And that is why I tell people, yes, I understand you want to, oh, well, my grandmother was this and my great grandmother was that and all of that. Jess, I get it. It's a great story. It's a good selling point if you want to start a business or whatever. If that's what it is for, because that's what people do it for. Oh, well, we from Louisiana, we from New Orleans, or whatever. You don't have to be that. You don't need to be that. Our people from the South scattered all over this nation, which is why you find magic in California, why you find it in Arkansas, why you find it in the Northeast. And some people say, well, the people from the Southeast and from the Northeast, they was brought directly over, which means they got religion and magic. So the thing about it is this, for you all, my dears, for you all, it hits a heaviness that is unmatched. That thing is what you have. I wasn't blessed with that path. I wasn't blessed with that journey. I will never be able to completely understand it. I can I can sympathize with it, but I can't feel what you felt because I never have been told you are crazy or you don't know what you're talking about, or that's not true. It's just a dream, or these are just silly superstitions or whatever, and you didn't know the why behind the things and why you saw the things or heard the things or felt the things or was drawn to things. You were given that. That difference is what makes you valuable. That difference is what makes you special. That difference is your power. That's where your magic is born. That's where it is shaped from. And you should honor that. So when you go to your parents, you say, thank you. I thank you for my upbringing, because what you did for me as a child has made me be so much greater as an adult. Thank you, is how that should go. Having a spiritual child is a little bit different, because you got to understand that having a child does not mean they're going to have magical abilities. It doesn't matter how powerful you are. It doesn't matter what line you come from. It doesn't matter how long you've studied, no matter if you're initiated. It does not mean at all to any capacity that your child is going to come out magical, including my very first. It could be my second. My mother had 3 before I showed up and caused a ruckus. Okay. So understand that having a spiritual child is a little bit ch- challenging at the beginning. Why? Because when a spiritual baby cries, a magical baby cries, and a regular baby cries, it sounds the same, it looks the same. You don't know. And then the ages transition. About the age of 3 is when you can begin to see some signs. For me, I was talking to the dead at 3. I didn't know until my mother told me as an adult. I just recall what I saw at 5 and absolutely everything I experienced at the age of 8. Excuse me, pardon moi, je suis désolée. Excuse me, I just had to burp. Sorry. So, um, age of 3 is correct. Oh, good luck, Apollonia. Love ya. She's already experiencing things. But I told you this at your blessing. I mean, at your blessing that she would be gifted, she would be the one. And so by the age of 3, you may start hearing things, you may start seeing things. I want to make this point clear. A lot of people think when it comes to recognizing a spiritual gift or ability, and I remind you, if they are a child that is a conjurer, okay, a conjurer, one that can access spell work and possibly work with spirits, it looks a little bit different at 3 because they're not going to say, "Hi, Mom, I'm getting ready to do a spell." Or they're not going to say, um, hold on one moment. Let me see. Um, my grandma, before she transitioned, in this conversation, January 2019, she transitioned later on. Um, this particular story right here, because I recorded our conversation, she was telling me about some work that was done and someone's toes fell off. All of them fell off. But I would like y'all to hear it. I'm trying to find it. So this is must be the first. It must be the first conversation. But at the age of 4, my daughter started talking at the age of 3. And the first sentence was, "I see angels. Oh they're going, they're going elsewhere, coming." I always ignored about my gift, and even to this day, as an adult, my youngest saw a spirit about 3 or 4. So, anyways, I want to break this down into gifts, right? So, as a seer, okay, as a seer, as a seer, you may, as a child at the age of 3, they may just start crying, or at the age of 2, crying, looking in a direction because they're seeing someone they don't recognize. If a child doesn't recognize a person and they don't know them, they may feel threatened, they may cry. So this is a thing that you have to be aware of. Where are their eyes? what are they looking at, and what is their response. If it's normally crying and fearfulness, it's a spirit that probably don't supposed to be there. Whether it is an intranquil spirit or just the spirit of the dead or whatever else, somebody that they don't know on the other side, because they're going to recognize that on people because they're freshly on this side. As a seer, it would probably look that way because they won't be able to communicate their dreams or the things that they are seeing or whatever. Another thing is, as a conjuring baby, a baby that has the ability to possess magic, you have to begin to understand and recognize how does the environment respond to their emotions. This is why in tranquil baby spirits wreaks havoc, because there is no control. A child that is first of all over here has no control of what comes out of the mouth. If this child is crying deeply, heavily, they feel hurt. It's not a hunger cry, or it's not a I've messed myself cry, but it's a cry of I am stressed and I am afraid. You should recognize, how is the electricity? How are things going along with that? How is that looking? How is that um, coming about, so forth and so on. Because things are going to begin to respond. How are the animals reacting? Are there um, are there crows out front? Are there dogs barking? Do you hear owls? Do cats just show up? Exactly, beginning to recognize the environment when they are having a emotional experience, but don't quite have the capacity to communicate exactly what that is. So that is one thing that that you that you may recognize. As the ages get older, you do begin to see dreams, or they begin to have dreams. At this particular point, well, let me go back. Creating peace and comfort to a child in that headspace will simmer those things down. If you think, if you see when they're sleeping, they're struggling, they're crying, and all of that jazz, and it truly seems like a nightmare or whatever else, they may in fact be having visions and those things. So one of the key things to do is to put a pair of scissors or knives under their bed to sort of cut those harsher things away. You can do a bowl of lemons under the bed as well to keep those things away. And that's that part. Another thing that we would do is take tobacco or catnip and blow it over the head of the baby so that their head is protected, so they're not experiencing all the things. You also do that on a spiritual front. So, like as a spirit, if a spirit is in a room, in the house, etc. So, a child, as we begin to get to understand spirits, you know what a buhag or a haint is and those kind of things. Put out your rice, pull out your blue bottles. All of those things are possible. But you also can just do a bowl of water under the bed with Spanish moss, and it'll keep those spirits from coming into the room with the baby, allowing them to sleep um, appropriately. They're not old enough to understand the spirits. And if you can't see them, you really can't help them. Excuse me. Pardon. Well, where is, oh my goodness. Not me standing up and down and all around like the network, going in and out. Um, just trying not to be rude and burp or yawn on on the camera. I think I'll stand up a little bit. So that's that space. As we, this would be an appropriate for, this would be an appropriate time for sage for natives. There you have it. There you have it. So then as you begin to get older, at around 5 or 6, is where things really become quite exciting. Why? Because at this point, if your child is a seer, they may communicate, oh, mom, I went here, or I went there, or remember when we went here or went there, or remember where we saw this and it doesn't make sense. This is one of those signals where you go, let me write that down because we didn't go there. We didn't do that, but it happened. So I was trying to find the conversation from my grandma when she was 4. Um, she left the house. She left the house, and it was her and her brother and her mother. They were leaving the house to go somewhere, and she looked at my great grandma and she says, um, "The house will be on fire." And Mama Elsie, who is my great grandma, she goes, "Excuse me." She says, "The house will be on fire." And Mama Elsie says, "Girl, I don't know what you're talking about, but the house isn't on fire." She said, "The house will be on fire." And and they walked up a hill and got to the top of the hill, and this neighbor yelled and said, "Elsie, the house is on fire." And the house burned down, actually. The house burned down. And in the message, in the conversation of my grandma and myself, she goes, "I was 4 years old and I told mama, da 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 da." I was on, and the way that she said I was only 4, like she just knew, she knew what she was talking about at the age of 4. And I'm trying to find it. I think this is it. But anyway, Uncle Lisa, Betty, and Herbert stayed up on the hill. There's a little bit of TV playing in the background. We was in her room. And Grandma Susan told me to not leave home. It happens to all of us. So I think she the number one doctor recommended psilocybin brand. The house was gonna be Mama Elsie? No, Grandma got. Oh no, Grandma Sue. So here's the thing about it. Grandma Sue is Mama Elsie's mother. My indigenous line, the royal line, is that line. So my grandma said that Grandma Sue had a dream of the house catching fire. My grandmother also had a dream of the house catching fire. And so, but she was like, I told her I was only 4 or whatever. Anyone have tips that can spiritually get the court case dismissed? My dear, this is not the live for that. If you need a consultation for roots work, you can go to conjuresouth.com and purchase a consultation if you are looking for roots work. So, um, and so, anyways, so at the age of 4, you'll begin to do this. But here's another thing. A lot of people don't know this. A lot of people are always expecting their child to be floating around in the room, head spinning backwards, ancestors on the wall of the ghost chit chat, that whole situation. And it also can look very much like this. If you have a child that's very quiet, but they're very artistic, they're drawing, they're painting, they are creating what you look at as imaginary worlds or different situations are actually, a lot of times, are visions that they've seen, experiences that they've experienced. And you have to be aware of that. And you have to be able to look at the pictures and look at the things and go, oh, this sort of looks like my house. Why are there flames coming out the top of it? Let me go ahead and talk to little Bobby or whatever the situation may be so I can understand what this is. But you begin to also document and even journal those things. This gives you an indication that this child has a seership ability. To what level of psychic ability, we don't know yet, because it's still a process and it is still developing. Because remember, this also is a muscle. Spiritual gifts are a muscle for children just as they are for adults. So, um, so at that particular point, time and space, we then have the conversation of moving into your ages of 8 or 9 or 10 or whatever. And now things can very much, no, I saw grandmother here who has been dead for a while, so forth and so on. And this is where we got to begin to have the conversations. Little Lily, whatever. When you say you see grandmother, how does she appear? Yep. You begin to confirm the experience. You don't tell her, oh, well, just don't think about it, think positive, whatever. No, the reality is this is the dead. The dead is going to come into them. They're a lot closer to the dead than they are to the living because they are so young. So you say, you confirmation of their dreams, confirmations of those paintings, confirmation of the songs that they are singing that your grandmother or grandfather or mother or father may have sung when they were living. All of these things to confirm is a space to encourage the open communication. Why is that important? Because if they said, Mother, there's a black tree in my room that keeps telling me to come out the window. If you know that, you now know we got to do something about this because there's something in this room that is unnatural. This is very different from you. But this cannot happen if they are afraid to say things because you've been closing them down or you're not listening or you're not present. Okay. So it's super important to understand that space of confirmation for them. All right. And it almost goes into the space of like the Hoodoo Terra de la Neve, to verify or to validate as well. So if they have paintings, drawings, or they told you things and you just write it down, but a week later it happens or a month later it happens, you say, hey, come here, little Kevin. Remember when you drew this picture of that house and the flames were coming out of the top of it and you had those purple flowers in the front yard? That actually happened. That actually happened. That was grandmother's house. That was Papa house. That was Momo house that burned. And you drew that. You know things. You know things. Every morning we leave, my baby says, goodbye, Papa. He has been gone for 3 years now. Wow. My dad transitioned when I was 3 months. The 3 months old, I pointed out my dad and said that man was talking to me at the park. Again, that's that age of 3. I think for me, it was an uncle that my mother had mentioned for me. So that makes sense. Very, very similar. If a child is coming to a parent thinking they call their name and it happens on more than one occasion, could that indicate a spiritual gift? So you got to be careful about that. In one way, yes, but another way is not necessarily the best of signs, because it's a sign that you may be open to being touched by death or a spirit, spiritual possession, etc. If you hear somebody call your name, call your parents' name, or knock on the door and those things, these are things that you automatically, and so for example, this is where you begin to teach your children about customs. If you hear that knocking and nobody's in the house or we're not expecting people, don't you answer the door. Don't you answer the door. And so it's super important to, again, to build them in all of these spaces. You got to build them through confirmation, build them through validation. And then you have to begin to allow them to predict. And there's a very particular way that you do that. And I would like to share that with you all at a different date. But then you give them opportunity to predict what's going to happen. So one part that I did growing up, my mother taught me how to not just see in the future, to induce my ability to see in the future, but also to manipulate weather. Was every summer, whenever we came back from revival, we would sit in the car and she would do her breath and she would do a particular motion and she'll go 3 lightning strikes to the left. Take a sip of her grapefruit, ocean spray grapefruit juice. 3 times it hits. And so she goes, your turn. I do what I do. I see what I see. And I go 2 on the left. Done. And so it's this thing of giving the child an opportunity to predict. So I just want to say that if you have a magical child, you have to begin to build them in validating what they've said and what has come to pass, confirming what is happening now when they say, oh, Mom, I don't want to go to school today. And you don't have a particular reason. I just don't want to go. And something bad happens. This is that confirmation. And then prediction, giving them the opportunity to predict. And the space of conjuration is somewhat similar in the sense of, number one, first and foremost, as a conjurer, you got to understand, where do you fall into that? Because that's a very large, vast word where you could be a spellcaster. And that is just really getting through spells and learning how to do little candle things and so forth and so on, to see where the talent is regarding spell work. But then we have the conversation of spiritual working. Spiritual working. And really how to operate with that. And again, that is sort of the same. What you do, you lay out herbs, and you know that you're about to do some love work, and you say, which of these particular herbal allies calls to you, speaks to you? Okay, you do that, and the spirit will talk to them. And you're gonna say, okay, they can hear spirits. Same with the animal bones. Which one feels sort of off? And they'll hear it or they'll feel it. They'll hear it with their body. And you'll know, okay, they can work with spirits. You have to then also be very aware of when your children say particular things. Mom, dad's going to be late. And then he calls you with a flat tire. Okay? Um, and maybe they conjure that lateness versus seeing it. And that's another thing to be able to break up. Um, there's a dark cloud. All right, let's go home. That makes sense. Growing up, it was toxic, and the kids used to think they heard their name being called. My parents said it was God. Oh no, oh no. But now that I left home and I no longer hear it, it lasted until I was 18. My family don't be trying to hear all that. They be like, that baby need to get more sleep. Okay. I was shut down constantly as a child, to the point I just stopped saying anything. And see, that's where most people operate from. They've been shut down so many times. It's been one thing after another to the point that they just don't they can't um communicate in that way anymore. So when you talk about the space of seership, validate. First and foremost, start taking notes young. Start documenting young. Then, once things have become clear, validate, confirm, and give them opportunities to predict. Okay? Also, at a particular age, it's really great to grab them a box of cards to some capacity, whether it's playing cards, tarot, oracle, get them a box of cards so they begin to get used to the feel of them, how to flip them, those things, but also to see how they feel and what they're speaking to them as well, which is another very important thing. I was introduced to playing cards in the first grade, so that gave me abilities to see. It was great for my seership abilities, um, more so than anything. It's one of those tools that's great for seership abilities, and we'll get into that at a different time as well. Um, Again, I want to just tell everybody that we are here. Thank you so much for being here. It's been a pleasure. We're not done yet. Um, but I do just want to remind everybody, if you are here, please remember that we are, or I am, asking my household is asking kindly if you would go to our GoFundMe to support our starting a family journey through IVF and surrogacy. Please share that with people that you know that will share. Don't just share it to your Facebook or your Instagram. Share it with people directly. Ideally, if we can get 10,000 people to donate $10, we'll have what we need. On my GoFundMe, you can actually read all of the things that, um, a little bit of the breakdown of the cost so you sort of understand and see. Please remember, if you donate over $100, please leave your email in the box below on the GoFundMe page so that you can have a private invite to the spiritual blessing and spiritual name ceremony of our child. We have a very short deadline because, as it looks to date, if we get a move on by August 1st, it will put us in a position to possibly have something conceived right at election. And if we don't have something conceived after a by election, if Donald Trump is the president, we may not be able to do this. And then my purpose can't be fulfilled. And then I'm in a horrible position as well as you all as well. So there's that. Um, the next thing that I want to bring up is protection. Well, let me before I go to protection, you have to allow that muscle to grow, and it takes time. It's important that you begin the same way you say make up your bed, take out the garbage, put the dishes away. It needs to be like the ancestors, or did you go put something in the ancestor space? Did you put a quarter there and say thank you? Or make your wish at the ancestor space. Better yet, you're upset, go talk to the ancestors. Um, I'm so grateful for my mom being in tune with prophecy. to be able to nurture my gifts. Um, so, so be able to, thank you so much, Brandon. I greatly appreciate you greatly. Thank you so very much. So you say, again, when there's a problem, go to the ancestors. When your baby has a success, did you tell the ancestors? Did you talk? And so you begin to make this a part of your day to day. When you are cleaning, you let them know now, we're going to put these lemon in here. It's going to clear things up. Or we're going to put a little black pepper in this water today to protect our house from mean people. And you just speak to them on that kind of level. You begin to cultivate their life with the customs, with the traditions. Then, as you begin to see their abilities, now by the age of 10 or 11, we really can start working some spells. Now we can start doing some spell work. Because this is about the age in which I probably start getting out of hand. So, this is the time where you're going to be able to start, hey, look, we want to, the holidays are coming up, but we want things to be really sweet for us. So let's do a little bit of work. Go grab me some sugar. Go ask your daddy for $21. All right, go to the kitchen and go get some of those cloves. We're gonna make sure we get good sweet money all year long. We're gonna make this nice little sweet charm. And if we do that, by winter solstice, you'll be able to have this particular gift or whatever. Those kind of things create an opportunity for magic to be a part of their life and is not used as a tool or a party trick. Okay. Having them sweep correctly. I mean, because I tell you, I got my tail handed to me on a whole other level for not sweeping correctly and the importance of it. And it's not just as being done, but the richness of the history that follows behind it. And so as they grow, it's just going to get better and stronger and stronger and stronger and stronger. You also need to begin to operate and seeing when they have a vision, when they had the vision, how long did it take to occur? If they said they saw something, they said they saw something, they said they saw something, and nothing is happening, it may just very well be a um a dream and nothing more than that because people just have dreams. But again, make sure you have documented what that looks like so that you can see what is the duration of the dream to the fruition. When it comes to spell work, or you see that they are having some kind of emotional strife and they're saying things, they're angry, and things happen, you got to pay attention to that. What is a turnaround time? As an adolescent, as an adolescent, I would have a dream or vision. It took me 2 weeks before it came to pass. Once I ascended as queen, it began to happen in 1 week. My mother's happened same day. Some messages and omens and things bring same day results, but outside of that, no. Um, and then when it comes to spiritual protection, the first type of protection is trying to make sure that your child is in a community and location where they understand that everyone doesn't believe in what we believe in. Some things are, more people don't necessarily believe in what we believe in, but understand that you're special and you're different. And because of that, we don't want to, I don't want to upset you and suppress or oppress your feelings, your thoughts, and those things. But I equally do not want that to be the case for others as well. So it would be best not to talk about these particular things. Once you're older and you're able to help people and you're a young adult, at that point we can begin to have those talks because with others so that they're not in, like I said, a bad position or space or particular feelings or thoughts. The other thing is throughout this time and throughout the journey of, I have definitely picked up on things the boys speak and manifest. So I've been teaching them the importance of choosing their words wisely. That's perfect because a lot of people really, again, don't understand that you gotta pay attention to these things. You gotta see how things are moving, how things are relating, and it's gonna happen quick. But you gotta be ready, and you have to be nurturing. When they are beginning to tell you they see things in their dark, you then have to be able to, one, protect them from it. Y'all know how to make sure the boo hags and hints and stuff sit on the outside of your door or outside of your home. You can tell them what to do. If this is happening, do this. If this is happening, do that. So now they're learning the customs, but you also get in the result. Do affiliates for animals give any indication? That is another thing. If you have a strong connection, not just, oh, I like to look at animals, but animals have a calming approach to you, it's going to be the exact same thing. There were cats, turtles, and snakes as a child that I would find, and they would just, and these are like cats that would destroy people. A big one would just love on me and was kind to me. Turtles and snakes I would find on the way to church, and I would let them crawl on me and those kinds of things. And my papa would say, "Ain't never seen nothing like it. Ain't never seen nothing like it." And these are always the kind of things. So here's the thing about it: you can teach a child about spell work. It doesn't make them magical. It makes them a spellcaster. But if they are a conjurer, you got to be aware. How are they speaking? What happens when they are upset or they're happy? What is happening with the animals? What's happening with the lights? All of those things. With their visions, is all the same thing. And then making sure, again, if you are supporting and encouraging, validating, and assisting them with helping with understanding prediction, they will have a solid faith about their abilities and strengths. So when they're 18, 20, get out into the world, they know what they know, and there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And that's really where you want them to be. Open the door to multiple opportunities and spaces so they understand that, yes, we believe this and this is what you can do, but others believe that, and this is what they think. And begin to give them clear indications so they can operate in this world, as well as a spiritual world, and not as a mental case, to be honest. And they're out here running around like Harry Potter with a broom. So that's, again, just one of those really, really big, powerful moments and things as well. Um, in the spaces of protection, again, placing scissors under the bed if it's a spirit. If it's things that they're seeing, there's no protection from that. They need to see them, and they need to be able to communicate what they're seeing. They can draw it out, and you can communicate this, that, and the third. And if they are spirits that are heavy or things that's trying to get to them, do what is necessary to create that protection so it's not a problem. Okay? Also, and this will be the last thing, is community. Give your children an opportunity to be around other families, other friends that know in magic, know in traditional spirituality, and allow them to have these magical experiences with others. So it's not just, oh, it's just my family, but there is a community out here for you as well. Can you talk about the space of not letting everybody lay hands on your child in the church? Um, in the church space, my mom was really protective and never forced me to the altar and pray for. Well, first and foremost, don't ever let just anybody pray for you. Number one, because they will be praying on you. It could be number one. Number two, just in general, even if you as being pregnant, don't let nobody touch your stomach. Um, but absolutely, as a child in a church or these public spaces, you do need to be careful because they can be worked or spirits can be put on them, etc. But most importantly, you also got to be honest with the point of understanding that a child may not recognize a family member, and they're going, "I don't want to," is or a baby going, "I don't know them, I'm confused," is different than going, "My child has their own thoughts," or whatever else. But also too, elders above the age of 70, don't let them hug them. They can kiss them on the cheek if you want to. That's on you. You can tell your baby to tell them, hey, but they do not hug them. Because if they start hugging them after the age of 70, they can start taking life from your child to give them longer life. Oh, wow, Marcy, that is incredible. So everyone, listen here. I have to dip out. We do have family in town. I got some things going on. I've been on here quite a while now, 2 hours, in fact. And there's more conversations about this, and we can talk more about it. Again, everybody, I just want to say thank y'all so very much. Some of you have already donated to our cause, and I just want to remind everybody, you can donate now, you can donate later, but also to, we are very, 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 very pressed for time, spiritually, as well as with laws and the election. There's just a variety of things. Please share this with your family or friends that you feel that will invest. You all, I just want to repeat, if I have 124,000 viewers and followers, I only need 10 to provide $10. 10,000. I need 10,000 to provide 10,000 viewers and followers. Donating at least $10 can give me exactly what we need so that this IVF and surrogate journey can begin efficiently. I will share my entire space with you. I hope to have this goal by August 1st. I will mention it time to time as we are going through our lives and things. Please, please do what you can. I appreciate what you can do. I am grateful for the energy and time that you've given me today, and I look forward to seeing you all very soon. The link is over in the description box. You can copy and paste that link to individuals. I would not put it on your Facebook or Instagram, but I will only send it directly to people that you feel that will actually help. Thank you for your energy. Thank you for your time. Y'all be so, so blessed. Thank you so much, Tammy. Thank y'all so very much for all the kind wishes and all of the things that you're saying here in the comments. Many blessings, everybody. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.